Do you have an LLC and you're moving states, not sure what to do with it when you move? There's a few different options. You can domesticate the LLC in certain circumstances. You can do a foreign qualification into your new state, or you can dissolve and restart the LLC. And then also, what do you do with your EIN? So we'll get into that in this video. My name is Bobby Casey. I am the founder of businessanywhere.io, and we do company formation, registered agent service, compliance for your entities, helping to open bank accounts, bookkeeping, tax filings, and all these things for your startup. So let's get into this topic. If you have an LLC and you're moving to a new state, what do you need to do with it? So for example, let's say you live in North Carolina and you're moving to Texas. What do you do with your LLC? Because you probably know at this point, you should be registered in the state where you physically do business. So if you live in North Carolina and you're physically operating in the state of North Carolina, you should probably have a North Carolina registered LLC. But if you pick up and move to Texas and you already have that North Carolina registered LLC, what are the proper steps and how to deal with that move when it comes to your business? Because then you do need to be registered in Texas in that situation. So you have a couple of different options. The first option is what's called domestication. Now, first of all, you need to understand this one is not available in every state because some states do allow you to domesticate an LLC from another state into this state. So that's basically moving your LLC from one state to the other. That is a good option if the state allows that. And you need to know that has to be allowed both from the first state and the second state, because not all states allow you to move an LLC out of their state, and not all states allow you to move an LLC into their state. So the first thing you have to check is it even allowed to do a domestication in your situation from your two different states? However, that is generally a really good option if it's possible. The second option is to do a dissolution where you dissolve the old LLC and start a new LLC in the new state. Now that clearly is you're just starting a new company. That in many cases is the best option because it can be clean and easy, very simple, but there are some downsides to that. So first of all, with your EIN, you will have to go get a new EIN. You will have to open a new bank account. You will need a new payment processor if you have payment processing like Stripe or PayPal or a merchant processing account. Basically, everything starts from zero again. Now, what do you do about your name in a situation like that? It depends on if the new state your old name is available. Or just because your name was used in the old state doesn't mean you can't move it to the new state, but you have to check if the name itself is available. If it's not available, then what you would need to do is go with a different name, maybe something similar, and then you might want to register a DBA with the old name so you can have consistency with your business. The third option is a foreign qualification. So using the example we had before, if you have a North Carolina LLC and you're moving to Texas, you can take that existing LLC in North Carolina and do what's called a foreign qualification in the state of Texas. What that means is you're registering it to do business in Texas. Now, if you do that, you're basically doing a filing called a foreign qualification filing in the new state. However, you will still need to maintain the LLC in North Carolina with a registered agent and your annual report filings, and then you'll have to do the same thing in Texas as well. And then if you have, in that particular state, if you have a franchise tax that's owed in one or the other or both, you have to continue to pay that. So that's a more costly option, but it may also be easier and simpler, especially if you still have business in the first state, because you're just going to need to be registered in both states anyway. And then lastly, on the subject of EINs, I mentioned it a little bit with the domestication, but what do you do with your EIN if you move to a new state? In the first example, if we do a domestication, nothing changes with your EIN. It's the same EIN because it's the same business. That business, using this example, moved from North Carolina to Texas. It's still the same business. When you do that domestication filing in the second state, you take the original filing and it goes with the new state filing, so everything is there from beginning to end. So your EIN stays the same. However, you would want to file a form with the IRS, informing them about the new address and the new location, but it doesn't change your EIN. You're just updating the IRS with the new address. With the EIN in the second case, if you dissolve the LLC and you restart a new LLC, as I mentioned, you would have to create a new EIN and bank account and all that. And then in the third situation, if you do a foreign filing, then the EIN stays the same. You would still have the North Carolina address in addition to the Texas address. So in that case, you wouldn't necessarily need to notify the IRS that your EIN has changed or your business has changed addresses for tax purposes. You could leave it in North Carolina if you want. If you want to move the address to the new state, then you would need to notify the IRS of the address change into the new state. So that's how you deal with moving to a new state and what you do with your LLC. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like more information, you can check us out online at businessanywhere.io. We do U.S. company formations, registered agent service in all 50 states, plus the territories. We help with bank account openings, your company compliance, tax filings, bookkeeping, all the things you need to get a business started.